Hello, everyone. I am Tony Lee Peters. How are you? I am very well, thank you. Although you may hear that I am suffering from a cold at the moment. But unlike most men, this cold is not preventing me from doing what I want to do, and it has not developed into the dreaded man flu. So, today I want to talk about fear and about how I was able to release myself from one of my fears and how you may be able to do that too. So, fear, false evidence appearing real. Now, as always, there will be a cheat sheet available. If you would like your own copy, type the words "get well soon" in the comments below, and I will send that to you via Messenger. So, what is fear? Well, fear, as you know, is a very destructive emotion, and it tricks us into thinking that it's actually working for us, that it's keeping us safe. But what it's actually doing is it's keeping us confined to our comfort zones, and it's not really working for us at all. It's working against us. But the first step to working with fear is to recognize the type of fear that's holding you back. So I kind of identified two different types of fear. There's external fear, and then there's internal fear. So external fear is the fear where you're fighting for your life, or there's a massive spider crawling down the wall. And I guess an acronym for that would be forget everything and run. Internal fear would be fear that's based on things that you've kept internalized for years. So it's all those beliefs that have held you back, and it's a fear that's based around that negative self-talk that you give yourself. So one of my limiting beliefs was that I wasn't worth anything. I think I've spoken about this before in another video. So I really felt that I had no self-worth, that I had nothing of value to give anyone, that I didn't have a voice, and this impacted me socially, it impacted my career, and it really negatively affected most areas of my life because it kept me confined to my safety zone or my comfort zone. There was a real fear that if I said anything or if I made a contribution, I would be slapped down or I would be judged. So once I started working with fear, I recognized that this fear was internal. And I started searching for evidence of what I was scared of. And I realized that if I did raise my hand or if I did say something, that actually I wasn't slapped down and that people listened to me. When it came to working on the judgment, that took a little bit more work. Judgment's a really difficult thing to unpack. But again, I searched for evidence to back this up. And even on the rare occasion when I did find that there was real tangible evidence that I was being judged, I came to the realization that actually that said more about the other person than it said about myself. Now, one really important component of working with fear is to face your fear. And that's a really scary thing to do, but it has to be done correctly. And when done correctly, it can really provide some truly transformational results. So, for example, if you're scared of public speaking, if you have a real fear of public speaking, there is no point in getting up on that stage and delivering a speech in front of an audience of hundreds. It's much better to make small steps and build yourself up to that point. Now, I'll share a story about how I was able to use this approach of taking smaller steps to help face a fear and release myself from the fear. So in a previous job, one of the things that we would do is a handover. So at the end of every shift, the members of staff would hand over to the members of staff for the next shift about what happened during their shift. And it was something that I found excruciatingly painful. I absolutely hated handovers, especially when it was my turn to do a handover. And this would happen a couple of times a week. So I tried to find ways to avoid this. I would ask other people to do it, or I would try to come up with elaborate avoidance techniques. But once I started working with fear, I realized that I could break things down into smaller chunks. So one of the things that really helped me to begin with was we would use a folder to hand over information. So all our client sheets were in this folder, but I would position this folder as if it was like a safety barrier between myself and my small audience. So that was a sense of safety, and it helped me to deliver a handover. It may have been a rushed handover, but it put me there. It helped me to deliver a handover. I then took things a little bit further, where I was able to not use the folder anymore and just work from one sheet. So that really helped. That was a bit of a progression. And then that soon went on to asking other people if I could do their handovers. And then very soon, and it happened quite quickly, I actually realized that I enjoyed giving handovers. And I realized that an effective handover was so much more important than my own internalized fear. And I guess an acronym for that would be FACE everything and RISE, because it really did have a positive knock-on effect in other areas of my life, because I demonstrated that I could release myself from fear, even if it was just in a small way. So for you to work on your own fear, recognize the type of fear and start searching for real tangible evidence to back this up, and then come up with strategies to face your fear in small chunks or small steps. So as I said at the beginning, there is a cheat sheet available that will have all the information that I've spoken about, as well as a few more tips on how you can successfully release yourself from fear. So if you would like your own copy of that, type the words "get well soon" in the comments below and I will send that to you. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Be kind to yourself. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.